Mr Deputy Speaker, it also has to be said that the Commission do not receive too many Christmas cards from Republicans either. Instead of being part of the solution to the problems associated with parades in Northern Ireland, I believe that the Parades Commission has become part of the problem itself. It is for this reason that my party has been clear that we want to see the Parades Commission abolished and a new system instituted to deal with parades in the province. And I believe that there is widespread support for this position. And indeed, this is also the context in which the Ashdown Review has been written. Much has been made in recent days of the financial package which the Prime Minister has offered in respect of the devolution of policing and justice responsibilities to Northern Ireland. I have welcomed his publication of those proposals, and I believe that the Assembly should seriously be considering those in its Assembly and Executive Review Committee. But throughout those discussions, my colleagues and I have consistently argued that community confidence is a necessary prerequisite for any such transfer of powers. Indeed, in November 2008, in a process paper that was agreed between the Deputy First Minister and myself, and which was published, we had an entire section of that process paper, the so-called Group 5 issues, based on the principle of the requirement to have community confidence. That group of issues identified 4 steps, concluding with the necessity to secure community confidence for the transfer of policing and justice. Now, I have a responsibility to gauge when such confidence exists. And my best advice to this House is that in order to increase the public confidence sufficiently to allow confidence in devolving policing and justice powers, a resolution of the parading issue will be an indispensable factor. In particular, such an outcome will not include a future for the Parades Commission. Resolution can come through establishing an acceptable rights-based framework. It also means tackling the small number of contested parades which grab headlines when protest descends into violence. The last published statistics, the year to the end of March 2008, show that in Northern Ireland there were 3,849 parades. The Parades Commission labelled 250 of them to be contentious, which is about 6.5%, and it actually means that the applications require detailed consideration. Only 147, or 3.8%, out of the total required the imposition of conditions. 1/5 of those contentious parades were in relation to the Drumcree standoff alone. Resolving parading issues in 5 areas, just 5 areas, would at a stroke transform the atmosphere in Northern Ireland. Resolving those areas would raise community confidence with all the attendant benefits that this would bring. Mr Deputy Speaker, the motion before the House tonight recognises also the tourist potential of parades in Northern Ireland. This year, it was my pleasure to attend and speak at the Orange Fest launch, which was an event launched at Parliament Buildings in Belfast. Indeed, it was the second occasion that I was invited to speak at that launch. It is worth saying that I am not a member of the Orange Order, which says something of the inclusive nature of the Orange Order and their attempt to reach out beyond their own ranks. This year's celebrations, known as the 12th of July, took place on the 13th of July. So the 12th was on the 13th this year in Belfast. But that wasn't the only break from the norm. On the 4-mile march to the field in South Belfast, 10,000 Orange men from as far afield as Ghana, Togo and Canada were joined by colourful street entertainment. In total, 100,000 people were in downtown Belfast. Happily, for the first time in recent memory, city centre traders opened for business during the celebrations. The BBC coverage of the event carried a series of interviews with tourists from across the globe. Where the shopkeepers are now, it's my earnest hope that the hoteliers and the I will, yes.
I'm grateful. In Scotland, we're having a similar debate, and one of the models that's been proposed in Scotland is we may introduce a parades commission. But if you had such a successful 13th or 12th of July, surely that shows the parades commission is actually working.
Well, the initiative of Orange Fest was not that of the Parades Commission, but that of the Orange institution themselves. And indeed, the same has happened with the Apprentice Boys, who have made a festival out of their event, encouraging tourists to come to the city of Londonderry, just as the Orange Men, through the Orange Fest, have encouraged large numbers to come to the city of Belfast. And I believe that where the shopkeepers have gone with opening their premises during the marching period, it's my earnest hope that the hoteliers and the general tourist industry will follow. This year, the Northern Ireland Tourist Board reported that the 12th was, and I quote them, a great success. Festivities in Belfast to mark Orange Fest on July the 12th and 13th went without a hitch and are likely to be repeated. The feedback from attendees suggested that these will become regular activities, according to city centre management. An initial small survey of members of the public attending the street entertainment reported very high satisfaction levels, with 98% intending to return next year. According to the Belfast Visitor and Convention Bureau, one of the Orange Fest partners, the traditional dip in visitor numbers experienced in July, largely due to fears around personal safety during the marching season, has been reversed in the last 5 years. In fact, Belfast's hotel market now records bed night occupancy in excess of 80% in the middle of July, something that one would not have seen anything remotely close to in the decade before. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this motion is not being brought before this House in a contentious manner. I believe that its wording avoids contention. I hope it will bring centre stage debate on parade that requires a solution. That solution must involve those who parade and those who protest. It should lead to ensuring those who wish to march do so in a dignified and peaceful manner, and those who wish to protest do so in similar fashion. Respect for cultural diversity must be the objective. I look to the day when historical and cultural expression, from whatever it may come in our society, is seen to enrich and colour our lives, rather than being a cause of division and contention. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I commend the motion to the House. Yeah.